Ragadirogan satatanushaktan Asheshakaya prasratan sheshan Autsukya moharatitan jaghanan Yo apurva vedyaya namostu tasmai Shri Gurubhyo namaha avignamastu.
Welcome to Ojas Oasis. This is a place where you will learn how to optimize your body, mind, and spirit in ways you have longed for a long time, perhaps your entire life. Our mission is to help you cultivate, nourish, and protect your Ojas, your immunity, and inner peace. Namaste. Hello, everybody. We are here with Anuradha Gupta. And I was just telling her right before I hit the record button how I get so giddy right before I hit the record button, especially when I'm talking to friends, like people I know and people I've known for a while and that are on the path with me, because I don't know, it's like my people. You're my, it's like a family. It's a Ayurveda family, and connecting in any way, whether it's through WhatsApp or seeing them in person in class or online in class. It's just, or doing the podcast. It's super, I just get ridiculously excited about it. And Anu is an engineer, um, extremely smart woman who has an MBA and had a whole career before she started this path, studying Ayurveda, and now she does mentoring for students such as myself. She's also in the Ayurvedic doctor program with me, um, and we're about to graduate next year, our batch. So, oh, and then she also teaches. She teaches lifestyle and diet, obviously, at the Kerala school as well. And yeah, she just does all sorts of things that all of us in the class that are with her were always so in such awe of Anu, because she really always goes above and beyond without being asked. It's always an offering. It's always out of this never-ending generosity, this love, and always with a smile on her face. And that's so for someone who works so hard but always does it with a smile on their face, you can only help but just have this like gratitude to know them. So, Anu, thank you so much for being on the podcast and sharing your smile and your wisdom and your experience and just your presence alone. And welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So,
Well, I got to say that, Sasha, she's uh, one of the sweetest persons to have on this journey. She's full of love and light in today's solstice. So she's going to bring a lot of light to you. And, I think and she is a great Ayurvedic practitioner. She's a great Ayurvedic doctor almost. And she has a wonderful practice. And I would highly recommend that you see her. You're in LA and you see people online. And, she is just intuitive and full of love and caring. And I've seen her in internships. She has great precision in, analyzing the pathogenesis of disorders and how to manage people's lifestyle and diet and, give them formulations. She's a wonderful Ayurvedic person to go to.
oh, thank you, Anu. Thank you so, so much. Wow. Well, on that note, I guess we're done. No, I'm just kidding. It's only gonna it's only gonna go downhill from there. We're just praising each other. I'm just kidding. Okay,
A
well,
mutual
you wrote
admiration
this
society.
amazing article for the Art of Living Center. Shri Gurudev, that's your guru, right? So
Yeah, Shri Ravi Shankar.
So do you want to maybe first start talking about him? And it seems like he's a very, very influential person in your life, and you talk about Art of Living a lot, his center. Maybe we just start with that, who he is to you, And then through there, we can talk about, the ways that Ayurveda is cutting edge in the modern world.
Thank you, Sasha. Thank you for bringing that up because, we believe that we are born twice. We are born from our families and then we are born with the presence of a guru. And for me, that guru has been Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar. And I actually met him and got into Ayurveda and got into meditation because my son was sick and I was looking for, a place to be centered. And it's, funny, we are talking about Ayurveda and the definition of health in Ayurveda is swasthya, which is to be centered in ourselves. But with a kid being sick, and it's really hard to feel like that you're getting tossed around by everything. So my son was very little. I think this was 2008, and I heard about Gurudev and this basic course where they teach the sky breath meditation, and I went for it. And then shortly after that, he was coming to Connecticut where I lived, and I met him. And in my mind, I thought, like, who's this guru? And I heard that there were 400 million people who had done his programs in 170 countries, and I thought, who is this? I don't believe in this guru shishya thing where you're devoted, but you're kind of uh, you know uh, you see him and you just melt. But that's exactly what happened to me. I spoke to him, I met him, and I experienced such a shift in myself. So over time, my husband became a volunteer teacher, my family got involved, and through him I heard, through Art of Living, I heard about Ayurveda. He speaks a lot about Ayurveda and reviving it. And through meditation, all of it came together. I moved to California, and that's where I heard about, you know, Kerala Ayurveda and studying there. And actually, it was Revati, who is an Art of Living teacher too, who told me that maybe you should do your, studies in Ayurveda. And I thought maybe I should get my son to an Ayurvedic Vedya. I just didn't have that trust just yet because he had anaphylactic allergies. And yeah, so that's how I came to the path of Ayurveda. It was really Guru's grace. And we are all very, very grateful that, we have the knowledge, the satsang, the sadhana, and the seva. So the service that we do, that the company of people like you, and that we have, our sadhana is like the wealth we take from one lifetime to the other. So we have all those practices. So yeah.
Yeah. I always say I think I was I'm more like an Indian grandmother in a white Jewish girl's American Jewish girl's body. Like when I'm around Indian people, especially when in the saris and the culture is so, it feels like home to me in a way that I can't. It's like my soul has found people that I've known for thousands of years, and it's hard to describe that feeling, but it's so deep to my core. And it's always been there, Anu. I've actually always felt, yeah, ever since I was young, I remember seeing Ganesha statues and just I would collect them, or like I was drawn to them. I always wanted that imagery around me. Ganesha was a specific deity that I felt so connected to always. Before I knew Hinduism or Ayurveda or yoga, it was the spirituality that really captivated me and has actually naturally always been there. So I really relate to what you just said about what we take from past lives, what we learned. It's there, it's very real for me. And it's no coincidence that um, I don't know that I just connect so well with
That's beautiful.
specifically people of the Indian heritage. And even though I'm not like maybe I might not be particularly religious, but all the Vedic Hindu traditions feel very sacred to me and very meaningful, and I love being part of them. I love celebrating and I love chanting the mantras. I love like I had a puja done when last time I was in India. I had a was it a Navagraha? Like when you do the 9 planets and they all are to become friends with each other, because I'm also into the Jyotish and um, I just the whole system just means so much to me. So yeah, I just wanted to share that that aspect of my connection with Ayurveda as well.
That's
Um,
beautiful. In fact, I was discussing that with Jamila, and sorry if I actually, it's cutting up. Our video is
I
cutting up a little
know,
bit, so I can't
I know,
hear so
I
well.
know. It's cutting in and out. I know. If it keeps doing that, I will check the Wi-Fi. I am connected though to my internet,
Sure,
so I
sure.
don't know.
Oh, that's better
Sometimes
now.
this.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
So,
okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah. I was talking to Jamila about that. We talk about Ayurvedic lineages, but then in Ayurveda, we also believe in past lives and reincarnation. And we don't talk about this very openly, but I really believe that people from the lineages, they come to Ayurveda. So it could be people from any background, and I've myself done my past life regression, and I've seen myself as Catholic and Jewish and Hindu, and so it doesn't matter what background one has, whether it's race or gender or whatever identity. I think it's the lineage that draws you. It's some kind of connection, and even if it isn't, I think Ayurveda is for everybody. We are one world family, and I just love hearing that it resonates with you. I've seen you in the India immersion at Kerala Ayurveda, and you look right at home.
You see my tears in my eyes. This is and
Yes.
this actually the after the first time I went to India. Now this is a conversation talking about how much we love India, how much we love the Vedas, but I don't get a chance. I don't have a chance very often to just express my love and gratitude all the time for the system. Like I don't it's every opportunity I can. And I just know, and your name Anuradha is my nakshatra, and I have such a connection with you, and so I'm grateful. And it's when I tear up, it's out of like this place of I love this so much. I'm so grateful I get to do this for a living. Holy moly. I get to even the podcast, I just get to do this as a contribution back to the system. I don't even know if I want to call it a system. It's a lineage. I like the word lineage better.
Yes.
I get to give back to the lineage that has given me my dharma and my community, and I mean, my whole sense of fulfillment and connection to the divine, and of course health. You know, everything that we know about how to eat and how to treat our bodies, and especially because today is the winter solstice. Um, we can talk about the importance of honoring the solstice and the different seasons in a doshic way, like Vata Pitta Kapha time of year, but also, what that signifies for, you know, this the seasons in terms of like cold and hot and um dark and light, and how we live our lives consciously around that, instead of just sort of like not knowing what it means to live in accordance with nature. I think when you start, the more and more you learn and the more you start implementing, um, it's amazing how you really start to enjoy these like kind of like seasonal markers, because you know what they mean. You have like more of a context and connection to what is going on around you, what is going on in nature, and then what's going on inside of you. Um, okay, and then on that note, let's actually get into the let's actually get into what it is we really wanted to bring to folks today, which we always want to bring some candid, happy, just fun conversation. Sometimes we want to bring in some more sentimental, um, reflective type of conversation, but we also want to be educational. So I think we are going to jump into Anu's topic for today, which is how Ayurveda is a cutting edge, modern part of science, even though it's an ancient tradition. So we're going to start with number one, which is that it is holistic, right, Anu?
Yes, absolutely. And it matters so much because, normally when we go to a doctor, maybe, I sprained my thumb and it's just the thumb that is being attended to. But Ayurveda is holistic. We treat, or rather we manage the rogi, the person. We don't look at piecemeal diseases and disorders, and that we look at the whole mind, body and spirit. And Sasha and I've sat through assessment after assessment in like a million internships where we spend an hour understanding the person's family history, understanding their psychology, their emotional background, their, whether it's physiology, understanding everything about their mind, body, and spirit. So there's no stigma of any sort about mental health. It's not just that we are looking at, let's say, constipation or PCOS. We are just looking at the whole individual. And that, I think, is such a radical way to look at health. And it is so empowering for the person because you're treating them as a whole person, not just, the next fracture. So, yep.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, normally the type of healthcare I think that we're all used to in this country, and the type of healthcare that I had access to growing up, something hurts, something is acute, and then you go see the doctor to make the pain go away, or to, it's very, very much treating symptoms, and not
Yes.
always the types of questions that I think you and I ask in our intakes, like in our initial intake consultations, are so specific and
Yes.
so many questions. And the paperwork is very, very, very detailed. And I think that would be a very refreshing experience for people that are looking for something a little bit more, more than just the aftermath of what happened. It's also understanding, how do we prevent, right? It really is such a great preventative strategy, right?
Absolutely. And I think that brings us to the second way. And, we were discussing that we'll make a list, and that brings us to the second way Ayurveda is cutting edge, and that is about prevention. Because, 40% of the deaths in America can be prevented because they're because of diet or lifestyle, exercise, or the use of overuse of smoking, and also alcohol, which is used. Of course, I'm not saying don't drink, but drinking such that it aggravates one's health and leads to chronic disorders. That's what we're talking about. So prevention is so important. 6 in 10 people in America have a lifestyle based disorder, which is a chronic disorder, which can be prevented, whether it is diabetes, type 2 diabetes, or a lung, or kidney, or cardiac issue, certain types of cancer. So prevention is very important. It's important for health, it's important for happiness, it's important in cost saving, in disability days, and in just improving the quality of life. So beyond cost, it is so important in adding value to people's lives. And that's where Ayurveda, a big part of it, is all about prevention. And even if there is a disease, we have so much about diet and lifestyle out there which can help. 50% of all pre-diabetic cases can be avoided, studies have shown, just through prevention. And that's where Ayurveda is so relevant.
Do you feel comfortable sharing the story about your son? You said that
Oh, yes.
what brought you to Ayurveda initially was, as a mother, you were so uh I'm sure, so overwhelmed with trying to take care of your son. So do you want to share a little bit about that story? I think that would be very
Sure,
inspiring.
absolutely. Yeah. So, my son had anaphylactic allergies and asthma. And then he's also dyslexic. And, so there's the struggle at school. And so, with all of that, I tried Western medicine. I tried science and steroids and, everything that I thought would ease his symptoms. But then it started causing other issues, the restlessness that comes with steroids, and, all the gut issues. And it wasn't getting any better. He had anaphylactic allergies. He had some 15, 20 emergency room hospitalizations, and so from that the anxiety, and it was all vata, vata, vata. So I figured vata, kapha. I figured, let me try Ayurveda, but I was worried because I thought, I don't know what's in the formulations. So I went to Dr. J, and I told him very honestly. So Dr. J. Rajan Kodikanath, who is, our mentor, who is the Academy Director of Kerala Ayurveda and the head of NAMA, the National Ayurvedic Medical Association, and who's now our family Vedya. So we are very fortunate. So he says nature brings you, right, to studying Ayurveda. So nature brought me to Dr. J, and so he said, yes, we can work on his immunity. The real issue is his immunity. And he started working with Sid, and his academic performance improved, and his
Wow.
speech cleared up, and he's now an Eagle Scout. And then, the other thing is, he gained confidence. His asthma, actually, he had so many episodes that the school had asked us to list him as somebody with chronic illnesses who had to take like so many days off from school. Sometimes he would wheeze, and then his friends would say, oh, it's like listening to Darth Vader. And so we he was doing so much better. His anxiety improved. And then during COVID, he had a very bad anaphylactic shock, and his treatment was delayed because it was COVID, but then he survived it. And the reason I really believe is because of Ayurveda. And then I saw it in all the, diagnostic tests. His IgE markers for allergies, they reduced. Like, if I look at the trend, they're reducing and they're reducing. Some of them are still anaphylactic, and he still has that, anxiety, but there is no explanation for it other than the Ayurvedic management, slow, steady, and so I just seeing that one case, I mean, it changed all our lives. Then all of us go to him, and then we realized this works.
I love that you mentioned immunity because that's the name of this podcast is Ojas. So and you're
Yeah.
describing, a lot of people have these autoimmune disorders. A lot of allergies are caused by your own body's inability to detect what is a foreign invader versus what is just a healthy bacteria or healthy aspect of, or just a very benign substance. Like nuts is a very, very common one that causes people's bodies to go into severe defense mode, to shut down what you're describing, anaphylactic shock. So, yeah, I think teaching people's bodies to recognize themselves is, it sounds very abstract, but it's not. It's getting people back into their true nature, like bringing them back into their prakriti in alignment with what is balancing for their specific body and learning what that is. And it takes, again, I think, like, as the longer I practice, and I'm sure you can say the same, the more people you see, you can you realize it's really fine tuning where you think that person is, what that person is ready to hear, what that person is ready to implement in their lifestyle and change. And it's really great when when you're working with a kid, so someone who's, um maybe not fully like developed yet, but they have a parent who has done a lot of inner work and is so progressive and open-minded, and you've done so much of the due diligence for your kids to vet out, like, first of all, you found them the best Vaidya probably in the country, Dr. J, you know. So they got the best person for the job, but then you're also really advocating for your kids. I mean, that's That's the type of thing. Of course, a kid, when they have that type of support, like, I think everyone wants to be that for their kid. Every parent wants to, of course, protect their children, and also help them, sustain a healthy life. But so many parents don't know how. They don't know how to. So it's not even their fault that they're giving their kids all these prescription medications. Like, it's coming from a place of trust for the system that all of us already are familiar and comfortable with, and we're told that this is the medicine, so this must be what the kid needs. But as we're coming to realize over time, you said something a couple minutes ago that would just, like, a huge green light went off for me, which was lifestyle based disorders. And I want that to start, I want that to, like, catch, I want that to, like, trend as a concept for people to start digesting and processing, because lifestyle based disorders, you don't hear that. You don't hear that. That's not something that is, but it makes so much sense. Lifestyle based disorders, because it's empowering people. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. Absolutely. We feel that people may feel guilty that, they have these issues and it's their fault. No, it is empowering to know that you can make the shift. You are the healer. And when you know that you're the healer, and you know that just these little alterations in your diet and lifestyle can, have an exponential impact on your health, then you feel good. You feel good. You may not feel like doing that 10 minutes of yoga or half an hour of yoga, but you do it. You want to
Yes.
exercise, you want to eat right. And I think that makes a world of difference, because we all have some genetic imbalances, and that brings us to another thing, epigenetics. So Ayurveda, it relies on the mechanism of epigenetics. Everybody comes with certain genes, but the expression of those genes can be altered in 90% of cases just by our diet and lifestyle. You were talking about lifestyle being a big green light. So just our diet, our lifestyle, our stress, our digestion, all of that. And that is how Ayurveda operates.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, we need that more than ever, I think it's safe to say, because the nature of lifestyle now is so vata aggravating. It's and pitta aggravating as well, but
Mm.
the pace at which we're expected to digest life, and the pace at which we're expected to produce, well, that adds, that kind of fuels the burnout, like the pitta aggravation, right? Like the
Yes.
ability to produce and create and like, that's you transforming one thing into another thing. But the speed is aging people faster, which is ironic, because with all this tech, you'd think that a lot of things would be easier, but instead it's creating a world where everything is expected to keep up with tech, instead of, we maintain our humanity and we let tech be tech. We're starting to become tech. We're starting to like expect people to be programmed just as efficiently as a computer, but without proper sleep times and without proper, spiced cooked foods that are fresh, and without the things that actually nourish a living organism, which computers don't need. They don't need, but plants need that. And we're more connected to plants than we are with our phones, but we don't spend enough time with the plants to remember that, you know? And so Ayurveda is
Beautiful.
here to remind us, right?
Yeah, that's so beautiful. We are part of nature. We come from nature, and just adhering to those natural rhythms, that'll create a real shift. But on the other hand, we are told that we need to be productive. And the vata pitta, like you correctly pointed out, it reduces kapha, it reduces ojas. So talking about ojas and immunity, vata pitta directly attack that, the rajas that it creates. It's, whether we are, on our phones, or we're just on our computers, hunched over, and whether we sleep late and then we eat all this raw processed convenience foods. I mean, even the cost of a packet of chips is lesser than the cost of a good fresh organic apple. So, this is what technology has done for us, all the processing and the convenience, and just telling us that this is how we need to live. And the three pillars of health in Ayurveda are balanced living and sleep and diet, which includes sensory inputs. And so you're absolutely right. Just, going back to nature. And I love something you told me the other day. You said that we need to schedule our rest.
Yeah.
And, so,
I learned that from another Ayurvedic practitioner, by the way. That's also a part of the beauty of having each other in a community, is we remind each other, even when we know, having someone tell you that, it's like, for some reason, I don't know, having another person tell you and remind you is like, it can't be someone too close to you, because like if it's like your husband or partner, or or parent, then it's like nagging. But if it's a peer or a friend,
yes.
you're like, you're a genius. You're a genius. That's an incredible idea. you know Why didn't I think of
So
that?
true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of course.
Yeah, we're not all defensive then, all of those qualities, they bring us back to our sattva. And I think all this science and technology and productivity and Vata Pitta is all Rajasic. It's like, the forest fire, as Dr. J says, because there's the air
Yeah.
from the Vata and there's the fire from the Pitta, and they just cause burnout. So it's like, the trees are burning out, everything is burning out. And at the end of it, your Ojas feels so depleted. But when you surrender, when you go back to nature, when you try and schedule rest for yourself, when you try to bring things back in balance, then everything starts getting corrected. And then you talk about Agni, that's so important, because the digestive and metabolic fire, that is where all diseases start. So 90%, unless it's an external trauma, all disorders start there. And just protecting our digestive fire, our metabolism, just being in alignment, that is so important. On the other hand, the cues we get from everywhere is, we need to work 20 hours a day out of the 24, sleep late, and that messes up everything. It messes up our you know circadian rhythms. And people just eat, you know or they skip meals, or they eat something processed at work. And those are very simple things that Ayurveda recommends. We also have very robust disease management, where, besides the diet and lifestyle, there are very powerful formulations. And, I was talking to you about my skepticism, and, I don't know what is in the formulations, but actually it's very clear. We have proprietary formulations, we have Vedic formulations, we have a proper SOP, how to make them. And in the Kerala Ayurveda formulations, for instance, they follow the California standards, which are like Prop 65, I think. They're like Japanese standards. And, you know, everything has to meet, they're way better than the FDA standards. So um, I think what happens is, in Western medicine, there are so many side effects. And
Yes.
we
Yes.
don't think about, they're carcinogenic, or they could be this or that. And then, there are people that die of this or that, and or they have these ailments, but nobody focuses on that. And I'm not saying we don't need Western medicine, we need it. But there's one case in Ayurveda where, there is a, and we have to make sure, do our due diligence, that the manufacturers are good. But if there's one case, and in 1994 of something, where I mean, heavy metals is a nanotechnology. It just requires purification, and Ayurveda is blown out of proportion. It's like burning the witches. So I think we really need to be focused on the fact that Ayurveda is very good with disease management. We need to find the right people. We need to find the right, formulations. We need to find the right processes, whether it's the right Panchakarma. It's not just a gut cleanse. We need to do everything ourselves, we need to take responsibility, and we in the industry are taking responsibility for making things better. To so on one hand we are trying to modernize them, on the other hand we are trying to go back to tradition and the ancient roots. So we are bringing that together, and I think it's such an exciting time of revival that we are at. So I'm really happy that we are having this conversation, where you talk about technology, and it's so invasive, but at the same time, how can we use it to our advantage?
Why are you making me cry? I'm tearing up. It's like so it's ridiculous.
Mhm.
I get very touched by I swear I can't help it. Um Anu, if you knew my astrology chart, it would make sense to you. Trust me. I'm all water signs. I'm Cancer rising, Pisces sun, and Scorpio moon. So Anuradha moon. But I get like I really feel it in my heart what this all means for humanity. What it means when, I mean, yes, it's challenging what you're describing, preserving ancient tradition, bridging it, all this Sanskrit, all the even the foods, the spices that we're using, like cumin and coriander and fennel and turmeric and cardamom, and a lot of these spices, they might be not what the American diet. I mean, how many places do you go to a restaurant, like an American restaurant, and that's in the food? It's very uncommon, but this is medicine. And I think the connection between like food as medicine, lifestyle as medicine hasn't been very prominent in American culture. Um, but that doesn't mean it can't be. That doesn't mean that American culture can't evolve or can't, you know, kind of start to integrate other, because we're a melting pot anyway. We're just a bunch of immigrants here in this country. Well, my parents are from Russia, so I'm first generation. I wasn't even born here. I was born in Italy. you know so it just goes to show we need to be open-minded to things that work, no matter where they come from, no matter what language they're in, no matter how different they appear on the outside. This works, and we have actually come to really embrace yoga. The aspect, that part of the Vedic system has been so warmly welcomed into American culture. And now we're introducing this word Panchakarma. We're introducing Ayurveda. We're introducing Ojas. We're introducing, just, well, actually, even in a lot of like the modern science podcasts I listen to, they talk a lot about things like circadian rhythm and mitochondria and cell repair, and they say all the same things that Ayurveda says, but just in different words, like it's just different language, but it's the exact same thing we talk about. So I yes, I agree with everything that you were talking about. And I get really, I have a lot of faith that people will, something's going to click, because all of us are vulnerable to toxins in the environment. All of us are vulnerable to stress because we're all alive in a body. We all have, we're inside of something that has an, we're not forever. We are mortal beings, and we can get sick, and when we do, it's good to know, um it's good to trust in your own body, number one, but number two, it's also good to trust things that aren't going to give you side effects. You know what I mean? That's a really, really exciting like option for, I think, a lot of people who are taking maybe 10 more medications than they even need to, because the original medicine that they were prescribed gave them things like weight gain, acne, hair loss, low libido, now they can't sleep, insomnia, like, and then they keep having to take another pill for all those side effects. And then they're afraid to get off of them.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It's a cycle, and you know Ayurveda really helps you get out of that cycle. Whatever stage you start, you can start at, an advanced disease management state, or at, let's say pre-diabetes stage. But whatever stage you start, there Ayurveda has answers, because we trace the pathogenesis from prodromal symptoms even before a disease develops, right up to, a full-blown disorder. So I think there the wisdom is that, how do you prevent? Through knowing what cravings a person has, what they're going through. And that brings us to quantum science. So as an engineer, one of the things that we found tough was, quantum science, but it was so beautiful because it's all about energy. And we are beings of energy. So that's the energy principles. They govern our life, whether it's vata, pitta, or kapha. And and even in cancer, we are studying what are the signs before cancer develops. And my own father had neuropathy. He was a veteran, and so he started having all these issues with the sensation in his feet, and what Western medicine couldn't diagnose because they use the principles of classical chemistry. Okay, this diagnostic test in Ayurveda, we know vata was going out of balance. That was creating, and it had a blanket, an avarna of kapha. So that was creating numbness. If we remove the kapha, then we address the vata. So we know even before the full blown neuropathy, this is how we need to handle it. And that really brings us to such a cutting edge. On one hand, we are talking about basic things like sleep and, sleep on time. And Dr. J is my Vedya, and he often laughs because I'll tell him, Dr. J, I forgot to take my herbs, or I took them half the time. And he'll say, he knows I'm like really spacey. So he'll say, all right, at least sleep on time. That'll address everything. That'll address, he says, you are my Ayurvedic doctor student. You know that it'll address vata, it'll address, all the symptoms that are arising as a result, anxiety or constipation, or, the spacey feelings, not being grounded. So I think whether it's really cutting edge medicine or it's simple alterations, we have it all. And that is the answer that we provide. And I think the fact that there's so many people embracing it, whether they are studying it or they are practicing it or they are coming to Ayurvedic practitioners, it just shows me, it gives me so much hope. It's, first generation people like myself. I'm from India, you're from Italy, you're basically Russian, you're Jewish, so people of all identities, they are. And when they learn from a lineage tradition, they are honoring, this lineage tradition. It's really very, very moving for me, because my great grandmother was an Ayurvedic Vedya in a village. When the British didn't allow Ayurveda, they banned its practice, and for many years it suffered. So in its revival, we are trying to get evidence and, do all these studies and everything and research. But we know it's also experiential. If we take khichdi, when we are sick, we feel better. So we have it all. And I think that is what makes Ayurveda as a living tradition so robust and so beautiful. And yeah, even I'm very moved just talking about it. And, I'm so grateful. I remember in my first class, Dr. J said, nature brought you here. Like, what was your background? And I said, engineering. And well, then nature brought you here. Yeah. Did you even think that you would be doing this? I never for a minute thought I would be doing this. So, you know, and so here we are, Sasha, you and
I
I.
I was running I was running marathons in New York City. I was running a race every single weekend, and I was in corporate advertising in New York, and I never envisioned my life to ever leave New York, let alone to leave the corporate setting, let alone to stop running. But then one thing after another, nature decided that I should not run anymore. After 10 years, I had like an injury, and that brought me to yoga teacher training. I wanted to go because, Pitta personality wants the extreme. So I always was like, I'm not just going to do yoga. I want to learn like real legitimate how to align my body. So I did the yoga teacher training. That's where I found Ayurveda. And then I was like, well, that's obviously so in alignment with everything, who I am as a person. everything I was learning about Ayurveda, the fundamentals, I was like, well, healthy, this is the fountain of youth. This knowledge, this is everything we all need to know about ourselves, and it's a path for people like us who are free thinkers, not necessarily wanting to follow the mainstream crowd of what everyone else is doing, really wanting to find what what is authentic to you, and what feels good for you. And that's why I love it, is because it works for everyone. Like you were saying, it's there is no need to fit into a box for this to work for you. And I think that makes it it's something that's such a unique quality, because so many systems or so many paths try to put you, sure, we'll say maybe we're pitta predominant, that puts you in some sort of, sure, kind of a category, but then we know you have so many more layers than that. You're not just a pitta person. Then there's also Jyotish. Bring in your astrology chart. Let's look at your past life. Let's look at your family lineage. Let's look at, I mean, you can get so detailed with um, how to create a treatment protocol for somebody as a practitioner, or for yourself if you're just someone who wants to learn Ayurveda. It's pick up any book and just start reading, and you'll be inspired. It's I feel like we're just, you and I, we're two we're two people that I think we didn't see this coming as our path. So to be in, like, first of all, because we're in like the last leg of the Ayurvedic doctor program, and we're kind of looking back at how the heck did we get here? Like, how did we even get this far down this rabbit hole? Like, it would not, we didn't um plan for that. It wasn't something when we were always dreaming of doing. It starts to happen on its own when you, like Dr. J is always saying, one petal at a time of the lotus, like one petal at a time, and it starts to reveal itself to you. But of course, not everyone's going to become an Ayurvedic doctor, and that's okay too. For the people that are listening to this that are just kind of curious, or maybe you want to see an Ayurvedic doctor, or you want to connect with this knowledge in some way, so you just want to listen to people talk about it. Trust me, the more you surround yourself in the knowledge, I think it starts to become clear where it fits in your life, and what slowly, how you can slowly integrate it in. And what Anu was just saying, our teachers always telling us about the quality, or sorry, the importance and priority of sleep. It's so funny how we bring you back to the most simple, profound parts of your health. And it really is that simple. And it's not something we can sell you in a bottle. It's something that you need to do. You need to sleep. But we're here to explain to you why it's so important that you sleep. It's not just rest. There's so many things that are happening when you're sleeping. And there's so many things that happen when you get up at a specific time, things that get stimulated for the rest of your day, your agni, your digestive fire, your ability to produce and secrete hormones that are regulating your mood and your energy level and your productivity level. So it's not just, so rudimentary. It's actually very, very, very intelligent how this system works. The system meaning like the mind body system, and just empowering that. That's what Ayurveda is doing. It's basically, it's teaching you how smart you are. If you just get out of your own way, if you let your body, like if you just let your body do its thing and stop obstructing it, or stop clogging it with all these like toxins. And that could even be negative thoughts. It could be as simple as just having negative thoughts and not speaking kindly to yourself. And we talk about that all the time, don't we, Anu? In our classes, we talk about the manavaha shrotis, the channel of the mind. Almost every single pathology, we're treating the manas. Is there any time we're not treating the mind? Would you say? I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally. I know. I love it. I love that, you've brought it back to, this, that the mind is so important. I was just telling my daughter yesterday that mind care is life care. Dr. J tells us all the time, Dr. Sheena, Dr. Kamya, because we just have verbal actions and we have, mental and physical actions. That's it. Those are the three actions in the world. And they're all managed by the mind. So when we take care of the mind, it's happy and benign. The very definition of health is that when doshas, the energy principles, when the tissues are in balance, when the digestive and metabolic fire is in balance, when the excretion, whether it's bowel or urinary or sweat, everything is in balance, and when the mind and senses and the soul, the spirit, are happy, that's when we are in a state of health. And I love that. And the other thing that I love, Sasha, is that we are one world family. And as we are part of nature, whether it is the five elements that we protect through sustainability, the things that we do, and whether it's the plants, through the animals, whether our kindness towards them, are making sure that the beautiful biodiversity of this planet is protected, that is our dharma. And in fact, even the pandemics happen when we don't follow our dharma. As the sustained adharma causes Janapada Dhvamsa Vyadhi. Ah, that's such a tongue twister. I've been practicing it. So,
You just
yes.
you rocked that one, Ranu. I was gonna say, wow, do you know
Thank you.
Sanskrit? You're fluently like that was really amazing.
I used to
That was
laugh when
perfect.
I practiced with my yeah, yeah. I used to laugh at some of the formulation names, but now I'm like, you know, I'm getting good at them. So I think that's one of the big things on this journey, that we don't bat an eyelid when we say some of the things. But I think we just, the spiritual aspect of, like, our dharma, our understanding that beyond all this we want to be free. There's so much more to life, just meeting our life's potential, being good, kind human beings. And that is what Ayurveda has taught me. And I'm so grateful to be here with you. I think it's been such a sweet conversation.
Yeah. Well, it's just kindred spirits, you know. It's just at the end of the day we're human beings. I think it's nice to have connection, you know, and it's nice to share common values. It's nice to share. This is satsang. It's gathering with your peers, with your friends, with even teachers, even mentors, and just realizing what a freaking journey it is, you know, like the highs and the lows, and we all have our own set of karmas that we have to pay off, you know, and we all have our good days, our bad days, but we keep showing up, we keep supporting the community, we keep supporting each other, and that is so important. Talk about Agni. I mean, Agni is not just Agni is anywhere we see light, there's Agni. Anywhere we see inspiration, and well, that's also Vata. But the we're trans. This is alchemy when we come together. You know what I mean? Because you share your
Yes,
experiences
yes.
and your insights and your perspectives, you know, and yourself, your personality, your smile, your glow, your Ojas, your beauty, your divine feminine. Um, and then, you know, I share whatever I can. And then together that creates some kind of conversation that like it exists now on this podcast. It's really cool. It's really cool to just be creating from a place of like detached outcome. Like I'm not sure
Yes,
what comes out of this. It's just creating because it's something that the divine wants me to create, and trusting that
yes.
has been, you know, you're the last this is the last podcast recording. I'm pausing after this to write the dissertation paper. So we're this is like, I think another reason why I've been getting emotional in and out of this conversation is because I'm about to go down a rabbit hole. I'm about to write this behemoth, you know, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be something that I it's another way of contribution. it's another that's how I see the podcast. That's how I see going to um, the lengths of education that I have to call myself a Vidya or to have anyone else call me a Vidya, really earning that with putting the time in, and making those like real sacrifices to really, again, and going to the Nama conference and wanting to speak at the Nama conference, anything that we can do to give back is it's such a humbling honor to do so because we get so much out of this. And every time I get to come on here and connect with like-minded people, it enhances my Ojas, and that Ojas goes into helping clients, patients, friends, family, myself, the people in my personal life that I love, my family, friends, and the community at large. So
I was thinking it's sacred, right? It's sacred on this day to reflect on Ayurveda and what it has given us. And it's very sweet that you are doing this podcast. I was showing my family. I was telling them it's really classy. That's the one thing. And you're so
oh,
beautiful.
Anu,
And
Anu.
and it's an act of service. It's a seva. So I was just thinking, I would like to chant the mantra from Ashtangridayam, the first verse, where we invoke the universal healer in everybody and we set the intention for universal healing for all of nature, for all of us, for animals, for plants, for, the air, the water, earth, fire, and ether. So I'm just going to chant.
I'll join you if I can.
Ragadirogan satatanushaktan
Virogan
asheshakaya
Asheshakaya
prasratan
Prastradana
sheshan
Sheshan Otsukyamam
Otsukyamoharatitan jaghanan Yo apurva vedyaya namostu tasmai Shri Gurubhyo namaha avignamastu. Thanks for chanting with me.
I started chanting with you, but then I realized your voice is so beautiful. I don't even want to like muddle it up with mine.
No,
I
no.
shouldn't have even joined in the beginning. I should have just
No,
listened
no,
and
I
just
was so
taken in the
happy because
vibration.
it creates that, the extra vibration. So I knew you
But
had the intention. So,
what a voice, though. No, yours is, oh my gosh. I love it. I was like, can you
oh,
do this 10 more times in a row? I want to keep more again.
oh,
Please
thank you.
continue.
Thank you.
It's so
Yeah,
beautiful. Wow.
thank you.
Seriously, if you have any other if you have any other mantras you want to sing, you please,
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean,
if
since
you want.
today's solstice, there's one which is, take me from darkness to light, from ignorance to bliss, and you're from death to immortality, So, Om Asato Ma Sadgamai Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamai Mrityurmamritam Gamai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.
Go- Gore, gorgeous, gorgeous,
Thank you.
gorgeous. I need to go to India. Oh my gosh, this is like, ah,
You just need to come to my house
I
and stay
know.
with me.
I won't leave. That's the problem. I won't leave. It'll be too hard.
Oh,
And now I'm so inspired by what we were talking about. I'm like, I'm gonna go make khichdi right now. And I'm gonna take
ditto.
my herbal formulations. And I'm gonna go to sleep on time tonight. And I'm gonna drink water all day in small sips, hot water. You got it. Yeah. I don't want to tell you what's in my mug. I don't want to tell you. You won't want. I mean, it's not that
Oh.
bad. Coffee,
Oh,
but
that's fine,
I
I
know.
think we
Oh,
need a balance, right?
I know. Oh,
Yeah.
I've been trying to wean off though and go into like jasmine green tea world, which I probably would have. I ran out of green tea yesterday, so you know, I gotta go restock my green tea
Yeah, I think the
and
balance
take
is
more
with fun
Brahmi.
also, because so many people think Ayurveda is so restrictive and they don't want to do it. But I say
That's a
just
good
have a little
point.
bit of fun. So a little bit of
Right.
tea and coffee is okay. Just have fun, whatever you
Yep.
can do, that's good. So
Yeah. Yeah. I've never been one to be super strict or like
yeah,
orthodox. It's just not even my personality to be like so serious all the time because that's not healthy anyway. I
no,
mean, if you think about it, what do they talk when we talk about sattva and um ojas and what are the other qualities like svastaha,
Vyadhi Kshamatvam.
via
Yeah,
yeah, being free of doshas, being free of imbalances. Things need to flow.
yes,
The word flow really comes to mind. And when you flow easily, when things flow easily, that means nothing is restricted, nothing is tight. So you need to soften, you need to open and let the prana just kind of freely flow through you in a way that isn't too deranged. We can't let Vata go too crazy. And all, because she likes to party. Vata really, I was telling my friend Erin on my co host, Vata will, if you let her run free, she'll go crazy.
yeah,
Sometimes that's a lot of fun, but most of the time, we need to create some sort of structure, but
yes,
also leave a little room, like a little wiggle room to, so if things don't go perfectly, we can laugh. And that's what
yeah.
we've been doing this whole conversation. Every tech disturbance, every time we froze, and every time something, we just like, la la la. We're not going to let it rain on our parade.
Right, the balance, right? We just need that balance and the smile. That's it, the
Yeah.
joy.
Yeah. And that enhances Ojas. To bring it all back
Yeah,
to health and Ayurveda, to be healthy means you're enjoying
yes,
your experience in your body uh without depending on any outside substance. You're able to experience and metabolize life in a way that feels easy and good, and it doesn't need to be rocket science. It doesn't need to
right.
be so complex, and you don't need to be strict.
Yeah,
um but
yeah,
but but if anything, we hope that you feel inspired by the conversation today. Two people that are becoming Ayurvedic doctors, and we're having ourselves such a fun time talking about the journey of becoming, doctors of this lineage system of Ayurveda. But we're also human, and I really do believe that these are the types of conversations that the general public will find very inviting and very refreshing, you know. Um, and that's our gift to you, all the listeners, as we want to inspire you. We want to help encourage you to explore this alternative method, and we hope more and more people will ask you know, their friends and family to consider another way of achieving health, which is in a more holistic way, more looking at lifestyle habits and really simple things like sleep, food, how our relationship to inconveniences, our relationship to the inner critic who wants everything to be perfect all the time. Trust me, I'm a recovering perfectionist addict. I think I was addicted to perfection for a long time, and I've really, as I've loosened my grip over the course of me studying Ayurveda, that's been my healing. That's been how I've healed from that condition, because it was really intense. I needed to be perfect. I needed A's. I needed uh, recognition for every single achievement, everything. And now I'm doing it in a lot more, I think, in a more sattvic way, where it's just bring on the mess. Like, just bring it on. I don't care anymore. Like, just let it be. I don't know. all I know is I'm gonna have fun while I work. And you and Anu, you're an incredible reminder of that too. You're an incredible teacher and
Thank
guru as well, because the smile that you maintain through all of this, and not just the conversation, but we've been in this program in this AD program together for 2.5 years. How long? I don't even. Yeah.
Yeah. Total journey has been 5+ years, maybe more, right? Yeah.
Right. I'm on like year 7.
Yeah. Same. Year 7 with
Yeah.
the internships and everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we've got the rest of our lifetime to go because it never
Yep.
stops. But and I hope you and I both get to speak at NAMA. And even if we don't speak, or if you do, and whatever it is, I get to see your beautiful face. I'm so excited.
Oh,
Either way, we're gonna
same
get to go and hang out, and yeah, Colorado is gonna be so beautiful. Can't wait.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here and for this service that you do. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for coming on. And it's only as great as the people who come on and the people I get to talk to. So thank you for taking the time and for being who you are, and sending you so much love. And winter solstice. So have an amazing
Yeah.
winter solstice. I love that we did it today.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Anu.
Thank
See you soon. Mwah.
See you soon.
Thank you for listening to Ojas Oasis with Sasha Bershadsky. To learn more about Ayurvedic healing, please visit ojasoasis.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, have your smile.